Hello children, in this video you're going to see about the second unit of your biology. So in the last class itself we saw about plant kingdom, that is what are the general features of the kingdom Plantae, and we saw the 5 divisions of the plant kingdom. So in that we saw about Thallophyta and Bryophyta, and in this class you will be seeing the remaining divisions of kingdom Plantae, that is about Pteridophyta, Angiosperms and Gymnosperms. So let me start the class now. First is Pteridophyta. So before itself, I told you what is a Pteridophyta. So Pteridophyta are vascular cryptogams. That is, they are vascular means xylem and phloem will be present, and cryptogams means they have their reproduction in asexual method, that is they reproduce with the help of spores only one male or female, either one will be present and the reproduction takes place with themselves. So they don't have fruits and seeds also, since there is no sexual reproduction. Pteridophytes. So the pteridophytes are the first terrestrial and vascular plants. So first terrestrial plants are bryophytes. But whereas if you see pteridophytes, they are the first terrestrial plants to be vascular, that is to have xylem and phloem. So next is pteridophytes includes horsetails and ferns. So these are the two categories of the pteridophytes. They are horsetails and ferns. So usually pteridophytes are used for making medicines for medicinal purposes and as soil binders. So to reclaim the soil, to bring back the fertility of the soil, or to make the soil very fertile. So all these things are done by the pteridophyta, and usually these pteridophytes are grown as ornamentals for decorating purposes, to make the environment look better. So for ornamenting, for decorating purposes only, usually pteridophytes are used. So evolutionarily, they are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. So I already said you that these are the first terrestrial plants, land growing plants that has xylem and phloem. Pteridophytes, they are found in cool, damp and shady places. So cool means where the sunlight is not much falling, in those places very cool, and the soil should be very moist and it should be shady. So in such places only pteridophytes will grow. Though some may flourish in sandy soil conditions. So some other categories of the pteridophyta may grow in a very sandy environment. So the examples of pteridophyta are horsetails. For horsetails it is equisetum, and for ferns it is azolla, and there is another category called club mosses, selaginella. So these are the examples of the pteridophyta. In this slide, you can see the pictures of the different categories of pteridophyta. So on the left top, you can see the picture of horsetail. So the plant is very thin, like bamboos it is. and to your right side you can see the ferns. So ferns is usually you would have seen ferns in some places. It is used as, mostly it is used as ornamental, so there are chances that you would have seen ferns. And below is Selaginella is an category coming under club mosses. So these are the three categories of Pteridophyta. The importance of pteridophytes. So ferns, they are used as ornamental plants due to large leaves and flush green color. So since the leaves are very large and bright greenish in color, they are mostly used for ornamental purposes. And Selaginella is grown as potted plants for their beautiful foliage. So these Selaginella plants, they are grown as potted plants for their bright color and the shape of the leaf. So for that purposes they are being grown. And some pteridophytes like equisetum and adiantum are used in the preparation of medicines. So equisetum and adiantum are used for medicinal purposes, and salvinia is used in paper industry. The next category of the plant kingdom is gymnosperms. So gymnosperms means, as I already told you, they have the production of seeds but no flowers and fruits are present. So now let us see the characteristics of gymnosperms in detail. Gymnosperms consist of evergreen woody shrubs and trees. So evergreen means some plants during winter season or autumn season, they shed leaves fully, and after the season gets over, they will start to bloom their flowers and leaves. But whereas if you see in the evergreen plants or trees, usually they don't shed their leaves, so they will be evergreen, the leaves will be there always. So that is why they are called as evergreen. So such types of plants only are present in gymnosperms, and they are woody. The stem or the trunk of the plant or tree is woody. It is very strong, and usually they are shrubs, short plants or trees, huge trees. And next is, gymnosperms are mostly large sized sporophytic plants differentiated into stem, leaves and roots. So these gymnosperms, they are very large sized and they reproduce through sporophyte, that is through spores only they reproduce. But they are differentiated into root, stem and leaves. They are in the well developed form, but the reproduction is only asexual, so that is why they cannot produce flowers or fruits. And next is, the roots are generally tap roots. So you would have know what is the different types of roots. So in that, tap root, so they will have a middle primary root, and on the side they will have small root hairs coming from the primary root. But coloroid roots, that is the algae will be present in the roots. And mycorrhizic roots, sometimes roots with fungi are also present. So these types of roots are usually present in some genera. So they are cycas and pinus. So in cycas and pinus, usually the roots will have algae in them, that is called as coralloid roots, and they may have fungi on them, and they are called as mycorrhizic roots. Next is, the stem is erect, that is it is up straight, and It is aerial. So aerial means the roots of the plant will be above the ground. We can see the roots over the ground, and it won't be present underground. And some are branched. For example, pinus. In trees like pinus, they are branched. They have branches. That is, they will have a main branch, and after that it will be separated to secondary branches. And some are unbranched. That is, only a single branch will be there and leaves will be present over it. So example, cycas. So these are the important characteristic of the gymnosperms. And after that we are coming to the leaves. So the leaves are of two types. So there are in one single plant itself, there are two different types of leaves. So they are called as dimorphic. So that is why the term dimorphic is used over here, because they have two different types of leaf. So they have two different types of leaves, and they are called as microphyllis or megaphyllis. So microphyllis means when the leaves are bigger than the stem, then they are called as megaphyllis. That is, the leaf is very big than the stem. So mega, big. If the leaves are very small comparing to the stem, then it is called as microphyllis, small microphyllis. So from the name itself, you can identify the term. Then after that, the leaves have resin ducts in pinus or latex tubes in netum. So these are all the names of the species. So why these resin ducts? So these are all the covering of the leaves. So why these resin ducts and latex tubes are present means because the seeds and the plant is naked. It does not have a covering. So these resin ducts are present in the pinus for a waxy coating, and for netum the latex tubes are present for the waxy coating, just for a covering, shiny covering. These two materials are present in pinus and netum. And the gymnosperms, they are xerophytic. So xerophytic means they live only in desert like places. So such plants are called as xerophytes. So you should remember the term. Those plants which grow on desert areas, they are known as xerophytes. So gymnosperms also is included in such category. So they have a sunken stomato. That is, the stomato will be present sunken. It will have a ball-like structure, and inside that only the stomata will be present. So why such type of stomatal position is there means because the sun, since it is present in desert areas, the sunlight will be very at a very high range. So what happens, all the water content will evaporate soon, so the plant will dry off. To avoid such conditions, they have sunken stomato so that they can reduce the transpiration level. So this is the use of sunken stomato. And after that, thick cuticle. So over the plant, there is a thick layer called cuticle. So this is also, since they have to face a very high temperature, for those they have such characteristics. And next is, we are moving on to the vascular tissue system, that is the xylem and phloem. So this xylem, it does not have true vessels. So these are all some of the parts of the xylem. So simply for namesake, the xylem is present. A false vessel is present in the xylem, and the phloem lacks companion cells. So companion cells will be present on the sides of the phloem. So that is also is absent. So why they are telling us this gymnosperm, it is not fully developed. It has vascular tissues, but it is not fully developed when comparing to angiosperms. So the xylem does not have true vessels, and phloem also, they lack companion cells. and these seed cells, so these are all present in the phloem. Seed cells are dotted cells, so they are present in the vascular system of the gymnosperms. Next is the secondary growth of the plant. So after the primary growth, the first phase of growth, all the plants will face the secondary phase of growth, that is called a secondary growth. So when this secondary growth of the plant starts is when the vascular cambium is on activity. So vascular cambium will be present between the xylem and phloem. When the activity of the cambium takes place, when it is formed between xylem and phloem, after that only the secondary growth takes place, and the reproduction will be done, since it is asexual, through pollination only it is done. So wind pollination will be done, so through that only the reproduction takes place. So anemophilous means wind pollination, that is through the means of wind the seed will be carried from one place to another, and when it falls on some suitable substratum or suitable environmental condition, the plant grows. So the examples of the gymnosperms are under conifers category: pines, firs and deodar. So these are the three examples for conifers, and under cycades division, the cycas is an example for the gymnosperms. Here you can find the picture of cycas and pine. So the cycas, you see they are included in the same category, but you can see the difference of the cycas and pine. So I told you they are branched and unbranched. That is, pinus is branched and the cycas is unbranched. So you can see cycas, they have only single branch, and pine, they are divided into different branches. And these are the other two examples. Deodar is included under conifers, and the redwood. See the redwood, how huge it is. The tree trunk itself, it is so huge. And deodar. So all the Christmas trees we will tell. So all these trees are included in the gymnosperms category. Now we are going to discuss about the importance of gymnosperms. So gymnosperms, it is used for a great important economic importance. So for economic wise, if you see, means gymnosperms is very, very important. So timber, so you would have heard the term timber. So that timber is obtained from the gymnosperms only. So gymnosperms are of great importance as they provide us good timbers, and the timbers are of universal importance in the manufacture of various types of furniture in building, construction, in sports goods, etc. So for constructing buildings, for producing sport goods, so for all these things timbers are used. So gymnosperms are the right category to provide a very good timber. The coniferous timber is the cheapest and best, and deodar and pinus species are common examples of timber yielding. So other yielding gymnospermic plants are fir, redwood, cedrus, etc. So you should learn all the examples of the gymnosperms and how they are being used. So the next topic is products of conifers. So from conifers plants, that is the trees. So what are the products that can be obtained from the conifers? So as you can see in this slide, some species example Pinus gerardiana, that is chilcosa, this is the common name. They are being edible. So you can see from the plant they are taking seeds and it is edible. The seeds of some species, example Pyrus Pinus gerardiana are called as chilcosa. They are edible, and fossilized resin is obtained from Pinus sacinifera and is of great commercial value. And so you can see it gives resin that gives a great commercial value, and some species of Pinus are cheap source of cellulose, and the wood pulp of some species they are used for the manufacture of paper, wood tar and wood alcohol, weed gas and charcoal are obtained from the Pinus. Next is products of the cycas plant. So the starch obtained from the cycas plant is called as sago. It is obtained from the pith of cycas. So that is why cycas is also called as sago palm. So sago, you would have seen it is usually used in desserts. So sago is also called as jowar. So next is seeds of some cycades are used as fodder for animals. So fodder means for feeding the animals. The seeds of cycades are used, and boiled seeds of cycas ramphie was eaten by the inhabitants of Andamans. So the people of Andamans use the cycas ramphie seeds for eating. So next is cycas leaves are used for making mats, and the boiled young leaves of cycas, it is eaten as a vegetable. So these are the products of the cycas plant. In this slide, you can see the pictures of cycas ramphie and the sago starch. And the medicinal value of this psychoplant is ephedra. It is used in the treatment of cold and respiratory disorders. So the medicine taken from these cycas plant is ephedra, and it is used for the treatment of cold and some respiration breathing problems. For all those things, these cycas plant can be used for medicinal purposes. The next topic is angiosperms. So what is angiosperms? Angiosperms, they are the flowering and fruiting plants. So those plants that can give flowers and fruits are called as angiosperms. So these two trees are the example for angiosperms. So Ulfia on the left side and eucalyptus on the right side. So these two plants are considered to be the examples of angiosperms. So angiosperms. Angion means vessel and sperma means seed. So all the flowering plants in which seed is being enclosed, seed is being present inside the fruits are called as angiosperms. So mostly these angiosperms are terrestrial. They are land growing plants, and it includes those vascular plants which produce flowers. So those plants which have xylem and phloem and they produce flowers are called as angiosperms. So the flowers that is blooming in angiosperms will have stamens and carpels in it, and the range in size from very tiny Wolfia plant to tall eucalyptus plants. So in the before slide itself you saw the picture of Wolfia and eucalyptus. So on the left side, the Wolfia was very small, tiny, microscopic plants. Whereas on the right side, if you see, means eucalyptus, it is a very huge tree which grows over 100 meters. So both types of plants are included under the angiosperms. And these angiosperms, they provide food and fodder, that is the feed for animals. It is used as fuel, medicines and several other commercially important products. Next is on the basis of number of cotyledons in the embryo, the angiosperms are divided into two groups. So the embryo is the developed egg. So that is called as after fertilization. it forms a embryo. So inside that, if two lobes are there, they are called as dicotyledons, and if they have one lobe, they are called as monocotyledons. So based on the number of cotyledons, they are divided into two groups. So here you can see the picture of a monocotyledon plant and a dicotyledon plant. So for monocotyledon, example corn, and for dicotyledon it is bean. So if you see the seed of monocotyledon, a seed coat, and inside that endosperm, and only one cotyledon is there, and after that leaf sheath and first true leaves and embryonic roots are present inside the embryo. So after the maturation, the root will come out of the embryonic root, and the first true leaves will bloom as the leaves. So this is before developing. And on the right side, if you see, means on the dicot side, so seed coat is present, and inside you can find two cotyledons. Two lobes are present, and as usual, first true leaves and the endosperm is present. Then after that, what happens? After growing, the leaf sheath and the first leaf is being marked. And here on the right side, if you see, means the dicotyledon and the seed coat is being marked. Then after fully blooming, the monocots have parallel veins. That is, the lines inside the leaves will be parallel, and they have a leaf sheath. And on the right side, the leaf has a net-like line, not parallel. The lines will be differing from dicot and monocot. So in monocot, the lines are parallel, and on the dicot, they are net-like veins, and the cotyledons are withering, they fall off, and they have taproot system. So these are the differences which is being depicted in the picture itself. Monocotyledons with one cotyledon, example wheat, rice, etc. They are coming under monocotyledon. And dicots, they have two cotyledons, example peas and grams. So all the cereals are included under dicotyledon. And next is some of the features, differentiating features between monocot and dicot. So in monocots, a single cotyledon is present in seed, and two cotyledons are present on dicots. So leaf, if you take, means the veins inside the leaf will be parallel. The picture is shown, the leaves are parallel. The lines inside the leaves are parallel, so parallel venation. And in the dicots, the veins have major leaves branch out. So the veins, it is like a net-like pattern on the leaves. And next, if you see on the stem, no specific pattern in the tissue vascular bundle. So inside the vascular bundles, the arrangement of xylem and phloem, it is not specific, but here it is arranged like a ring shaped. So next is flowers. Flowers in multiples of 3, and flowers parts in multiples of 4 or 5. And next is roots, fibrous roots, and here if you see, means in dicots, if you see, means it is tap roots. The salient features of monocotyledon, the monocots are, the plants of this group produce seeds having a single cotyledon inside it, and the leaves of the monocotyledons, they have parallel venation, and they have fibrous root system, that is network of roots without the main root. And next is vascular bundles, they are scattered, they do not have a specific pattern, and they are closed type, that is cambium is not present between the xylem and phloem. And the number of petals, if you see, means either they are 3 in number or the multiples of 3, that is 3, 6, 9. So in those multiples also the number may be, or they may be 3. Next is dicotyledons or dicots. The plant of this group, they produce seeds with two cotyledons, and the leaf exhibit reticulate venation, that is a net-like arrangement is inside the leaf. It is like a net, just clubbed here and there. It is very clumsy. So such type of venation is called as reticulate venation, and they have a tap root. That is, they have the main root, and from that small branches are arising. And the vascular bundles, they are arranged in ring shape, and they are open type. That is, cambium is present, and the petals of the flower are generally 5 or multiples of 5. That is 5, 10, 15. So in such numbers only the petals of the dicotyledon will be present. And here are a list of the interesting facts about kingdom Plantae. So in algae, if you see, means algae prepares the food for both the partners, but fungal hyphae provide protection to the algal partner. So lichens means it is the association of a fungi and an algae. So they both live in mutual relationship. So such type of plants are called as lichens. So in lichens, that algae prepares the food and the fungi partner it protects. And next is rust and smut. So these are a parasitic fungi name. And mushrooms, it is an edible fungus. So mushroom is a form of fungus, but it is edible. And lichens are indicators of sulfur dioxide pollution. So where there is sulfur dioxide polluted and it is highly present, in those places lichens won't grow, and places where the lichens are present, there the sulfur dioxide level is much less. And there are 24,000 species of bryophytes and 10,000 species of pteridophytes present. And pteridophytes, they are commonly called as vascular cryptogams. So this has been already mentioned before. So vascular means they have xylem and phloem. Cryptogams means they undergo reproduction by spores only. And the gymnosperms include only 650 species. That is, they have naked seeded plants. So plants with naked seed are only 650 species, and other are covered by seed coat. And angiosperms, they are most abundant plants and include about 250,000 species. So how many number of species are there? Just think about it. And xylem vessels, they are found only in angiosperms, and the gymnosperms, it is not present. So these are all some of the interesting facts about kingdom Plantae. So we have completed the unit 3. I hope you have all understood the other divisions of the kingdom Plantae. So the PDF will be posted to you. Write all the questions including the detailed answers in your note. It should be very neat, and submit your notes on the given time. So we will meet in the Zoom meet and clarify all your remaining doubts. Thank you, children.